Hey, what's up, cats and kittens, and shout out to all my Cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I'm back with another episode of In the Loop. And in today's episode of In the Loop, we're going to be talking about a racist incident that was recently captured on film at Starbucks in Chicago. But before you go another further, do yourself a favor and do me a solid. Take a second to hit that subscribe button, and once you've done that, take another second to hit that tiny little bell so you can turn on your alerts, and that way you will be kept in the loop. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's talk about what we're here to talk about. And that is this racist incident that was captured on film at a Starbucks in Chicago. But before I go into my diatribe about this particular incident, I want you guys to take a look at the footage yourself so you can have a better understanding of exactly what I'm talking about. So take a look and I'll be right back. Now, if you're...
Shut up, slave! Do not talk to me! Get out of the force! Do not walk on my two legs!
This is happening yesterday outside the Starbucks near State and Lake in the Loop. Police saying that 23-year-old William Boucher yelled those racist comments and became enraged after someone spilled coffee on him. Moments later, he punches a 59-year-old man and he spit on two other people. Witnesses then tackled the man and held him down until the police arrived. The victim was taken to the hospital for an eye injury. Boucher is charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor battery, and he'll appear in court next month.
Being like me. After you just watched that video, you are probably shaking your head like you have Tourette's. I am incredulous after watching this video. I cannot believe, and let me not say I can't believe, because not only do I believe, I know for a fact that not only does this type of mentality or ideology exist here in America, but it's rampant and it's growing. It's getting worse. We're seeing incident after incident after incident of this sort of bigoted hate crimes permeating our culture ever since Donald Trump got elected. And let me not just say ever since Donald Trump got elected. We're going to take it back to when Obama got elected. And while I don't believe Obama himself necessarily facilitated hate crimes, I think the fact that a black man got elected took people in this country, those who were already sort of these micro bigots, it took them over the top. It took them over the top to the point now where they feel beholden in their bigotry. They feel entitled in their bigotry. And we're seeing this manifest in places like Starbucks and public places. We're seeing it happen in Portland, Oregon. And people keep saying, oh, well, that guy was a Bernie supporter. I don't want to hear this bullshit about him being a Bernie supporter. I don't give a fuck who he supported. That is irrelevant to me. What I know for a fact is that Donald Trump propagates hate speech, and those who sort of identify with neo-Nazi culture and this alt-right culture, for the most part, follow or believe or support Donald Trump and his ideology. So whether this guy in Portland, Oregon was a Bernie Sanders supporter, is neither here nor there. The ideology, the rhetoric that this man in Portland, Oregon is subscribing to is not that of Bernie Sanders. So I just wanted to say that, because I did a video about this a couple weeks ago, and people kept saying, oh, well, he's a Bernie supporter. That's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. But back to Starbucks. So this William Boucher guy is apparently incensed by the fact that someone had the nerve to accidentally spill coffee on him. And you know what? So when you look at him, he's so unassuming. You know what I mean? He looks so congenial. He sort of has this pocket protector-esque, technology geek vibe going on. You just don't necessarily look at him and think that this guy is a raging bigot. But it just goes to show you that you cannot judge a book by its cover, because lurking just beneath the surface, I shouldn't even say it was beneath the surface, because clearly it was above surface. He is a stark, raving bigot. And so at one point, I don't know if you guys can hear in the video, he says to the man, he calls him a slave. And the guy just continued filming, didn't do anything. It wasn't until he attempted to spit on him that the black guy was like, okay, enough is enough. You've crossed the line for me. And when I look at that video, I give the black man all the credit in the world for his restraint, because I don't know if and I consider myself even killed, level-headed. I'm telling you, for the most part, I walk away from confrontations unless you catch me on that one particular day where I'm just like, you know what? Today I'm going to give you exactly what you want. Because we all have those days, and sometimes I'm human too. But had this man have done what I, I don't know what I would have done, but I don't think that I would have been able to be as restrained as this gentleman was in this particular video. And what really upsets me when I watch this video is that we hear all of this stuff about border control and keeping, ISIS out of our country. And while I do think that's important, I'm not going to mitigate the importance of making sure that we're safe here in our country, because we do know that terrorism is an issue. We're pretty much seeing it happen almost on a weekly, twice a week basis, here and abroad. So I get that that is an issue. But as a person of color who lives in America, I know that there's a more immediate threat to my safety. And that immediate threat comes courtesy of people like Mr. Boucher and his ilk, who, for whatever reason, since Donald Trump has gotten elected, feel that they have the right to sort of put people of color back into the box that they belong, and that is the place of second-class citizenship. And until Donald Trump starts to understand that this is a real problem, he will never garner the support of people of color, of minorities. Myself in particular, I just could never see myself supporting Donald Trump, because these are the sort of people who believe in his ideology. These are the sort of people who support him. And he never talks about issues like this. Even the incident, once again, in Portland, he never speaks out against that. We saw 5 people killed in Orlando last week through gun violence. And though it was workplace gun violence, it was still gun violence nonetheless. It wasn't at the hands of ISIS. What happened in Portland, Oregon wasn't at the hands of ISIS. What happened with Mr. Boucher was not at the hands of ISIS. There's radicalism happening here every single day in America. And though we may not label it that for purposes of making it more palatable for the average Joe, it's still quite a radical ideology that makes people feel that they're entitled to go to Starbucks and call people slaves and to punch this unassuming, unsuspecting man for absolutely no reason other than the fact that I couldn't necessarily see the man's race, but based on what I could see, it looked as if the man was black, and William felt like, well, if I can't get who I want, I'm just going to hit some random black guy. That's a pretty radical position to take. That's a pretty extremist thing to do. And so don't try to sell me on this bullshit about ISIS and how much of a threat they are. You want me to rally behind that, and you're doing absolutely nothing about that. So for me, there's a hierarchy in terms of what I'm afraid of, in terms of what I deem as a priority. And what I deem as a priority is racism in America. Bigotry in America is number one if we're talking about things that people of color should be fearful of. Systemic racism, and maybe 2 or 3 rungs down would be ISIS. There is a list, a prioritized list that people of color see these things in. And don't talk to me about ISIS. Don't talk to me about controlling the border until you do something about this particular ideology, and doing something to quell it, doing something to contain it, because it is rampant. And I wholeheartedly believe the reason it's growing and it's becoming exacerbated is because of people like Donald Trump. And not just Donald Trump, the people that he surrounds himself with, the Steve Bannons, the Jeff Sessions, and so on and so forth. So, having said that, you guys, I'm going to step off my soapbox and I'm going to turn it over to you. Now it's your opportunity to add your 2 cents in, so make sure you comment below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and please share if you feel so inclined. What else is there? Remember to follow me across all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Remember, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. And as always, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a fantastic day.
This happening yesterday outside the Starbucks near State and Lake in the Loop. Police saying that 23-year-old William Boucher yelled those racist comments and became enraged after someone spilled coffee on him. Moments later, he punches a 59-year-old man and he spit on 2 other people. Witnesses then tackled the man and held him down until the police arrived. The victim was taken to the hospital for an eye injury. Boucher is charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor battery, and he'll appear in court next month.